Hello, welcome to today's gentle movement practice for relieving stress and anxiety. I'm Sara Raymond with the Mindful Movement. So just a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. Primarily it's going to be seated, so you can be seated in a chair or on the floor, even on a couch, whatever is comfortable for you. And then the second half will be a little bit on the floor, so if you're comfortable coming down onto the floor with me, you'll join me. If not, then you just participate in the first half of the practice. So we'll start with a little bit of breathing and then some gentle self-massage techniques to bring some awareness to different body parts when you might be feeling anxious and need a little bit of grounding. And then some gentle stretches to open up the area that allows you to deepen your breath and find a little bit more ease if you are experiencing stress or anxiety. So let's get right to it. So come to any comfortable seated position, and we'll start with a 4-7-8 breath. So it's an inhale through your nose for 4 counts, a hold for up to 7. If you don't feel comfortable with 7, then you can do a shorter hold. And then it's a slow exhale through your nose for 8 counts. And I'll count you through the first 2, and then we'll practice a little bit on our own. So again, finding any comfortable seated posture, tall lifted spine, shoulders relaxed and down. Maybe close your eyes if you'd like. And then exhale fully as a preparation. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now continue on your own. Finish one more cycle on your own. And then allow your breath to return to its normal rhythm, normal depth and flow. And then next we'll take 3 deep inhales through the nose. And this time as you exhale, create an audible sigh. So do that 2 more times. Let your body soften and relax with each exhale. And then blink your eyes open if they were closed. Okay, so next we're going to move on to, as I said, some self-massage techniques. I'll take my glasses off here. So we'll start with the facial massage, and you're just putting a gentle pressure. It doesn't have to be significant. You can use your fingers, or if you have a tiny little ball, that might work too. But you're basically finding the bones in your face and pressing on the bones, and you might just press along the bones, or you can press and gently pull either outward, downward, upward, whatever feels like it's the most effective for you. We're not going to spend a ton of time here. You can again close your eyes if you like. You can go against your nose, at the cheekbone, above your eyebrow, I should say, above your eyebrow, your forehead. And then I like to spend a good bit of time around the jaw. So it's pretty much in line with where your ear is. So if you can find there's a bone on the top and a bone on the bottom, and then there's a little indentation. And you can press there and open and close your jaw. And then go around the jaw. And then you would just, of course, do the same on the other side. And if there's any areas that feel particularly sore, you might just stay there and take a few deep breaths. And like we practiced earlier, when your exhale is longer than your inhale, it can have a little bit of a relaxing effect for you. And you'll start to find the areas that feel like you need to spend the most time there, and you can always just explore there. So again, find the jaw, hinge of the jaw, open and close. Okay, and then if there's anywhere that you feel like you need to spend a little bit more time, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll move on to our neck. So you can use both hands or one at a time, your choice. You'll feel just behind the ears, the bone, start there, and then start to work your way down. And you can even go to this upper trapezius area, so the top of your neck and shoulders. And then let me show you from the back. You're going to take one hand on either side of your neck, so on either side of your spine, I should say. And then think of pulling outward, and as you do, gently let your head drop back, and then come back up again. So you'll go through that a few times, starting right at the base of the skull, and then working your way down. And then after you do that a few times, you can, I like to actually do this with the opposite hand. So the muscle right at the top of your shoulder, you'll grab with your opposite hand, squeeze up, draw your shoulder up towards your ear, and then just release down. Squeeze up, and release down. Do that one more time on this side, and then we can switch sides. So as you squeeze that muscle, lift your shoulder up and release. And all the time continuing to breathe fluidly. Good. Okay. And then last bit of self-massage will be the area of your chest. So if you can find your collarbone at the top of your chest, you're going to go just below the collarbone, and you'll just give a little bit of pressure. You can push in and then pull down gently, and as you pull down, you might explore turning your head in the opposite direction. So you feel a little bit of stretch through maybe the neck. Well, at least on my left side is always a little bit tighter, especially at the neck here, so I know I need that. And then you might go down a little bit below the collarbone, if that feels okay for you. And we'll do the other side. So finding the collarbone right below, press in, and feel free to either tip your head towards the opposite shoulder or turn your head towards the opposite shoulder. Maybe again go down a little bit below the collarbone. Okay, and that will be all of our self-massage today. So next we'll start to do some very gentle stretches. So again, you can remain in any comfortable seated position, arms by your sides, and then we'll stretch through our neck here. So you can begin by tipping your right ear towards your right shoulder. I'll mirror you here. And as you're tipping your head to your right, think about drawing your left shoulder down away from your ear. And then you'll draw your chin towards your right collarbone. And then you can either stay here with your chin towards your collarbone or go back to chin forward, whatever feels comfortable. And then take your left arm out just above the height of your hip, I would say. Turn your palm forward. And then you're moving from your wrist. So you'll draw your fingers backwards and forwards a few times. Be gentle here. There's no need to be aggressive with these stretches. And then just allow your arm to relax down. Draw your chin toward your chest slowly. And then your head comes back up. And we'll do the same on the other side. So nice and gentle, tip your left ear towards your left shoulder, encouraging your right shoulder to stay down. And then turn your chin. You can see I'm moving very slowly to make sure I don't go too far, too fast. Chin towards the left collarbone. And then as we start to add the movement from the arm, you can again either keep your chin down or tip it forward, but you're still bringing your ear towards your shoulder. And then we lift, let's see, this is your right arm out to the side, just a little higher than your hip. And then palm facing forward as you move from the wrist. Fingers go back and fingers forward. And you might start to notice if you're tensing up through the neck, this might be too high. So bring your arm down or make the movement from your wrist a little smaller. And then relax your hand down, slowly draw your chin toward your chest. And just letting your head hang here for a moment, take a breath in and out. And then slowly bringing your head back up. All right, and then from here, a couple spine stretches. So we'll lift your left arm, drawing your shoulder down, and think about lifting up tall and at the same time grounding down, and then gently side bending over to your right. And now we'll start to add some movement, but I want you to try to focus on keeping your left sit bone heavy on the ground. So as you turn your shoulders forward towards the floor, you're not lifting that the right side of your butt up. And then come back to center and turn your chest towards the ceiling. And center. Now we'll keep doing that movement. You're going to bring your eyes to focus on your top hand, and then we'll follow the hand. So you're looking forward as your shoulders rotate forward. Looking back towards the ceiling, and then behind you. One more time, rotating forward, looking forward, rotating back. And come through center, and back up again. All right, maybe roll your shoulders around a few times, and we'll do the other side. So lift your right arm. Again, lift tall first, and root down through the pelvis. And then we side bend over. So as I said, my left side is always a little tighter, so I have to remind myself to draw that shoulder down, easy in the neck, and then begin to rotate shoulders forward and back, And now adding the eyes. So looking up at your top hand, rotating forward, and just keep that top hand as your focal point. One more time forward. And back. And center, and up again. Okay, so this next part, if you are comfortable lying down on your back, I would recommend doing that. If you prefer to be seated, you can definitely do this seated. So I'm going to take it down onto the floor. And once you lay down, you're going to interlace your hands and place your hands right at the base of the head. Now, again, you could do the same exact thing seated if you prefer. Now, if you have any shoulder issues, if just one shoulder is not comfortable in this position, you can just do this with one hand. Or if neither of your shoulders are comfortable overhead, you can use a pillow under your head is fine. So we're finding this sense of almost traction. So my hands are at the base of the skull where there's two little bony points, and I'm gently lengthening those two bony points away from my shoulders so that my neck is nice and long. And then I'll relax my arms by my side. So my head's heavy, neck is relaxed. And then, I'm actually going to do this without my glasses. With your eyes only, look as far to your right as you can. And you'll just allow your eyes to stay in that position. So eyes are looking as far to the right as you can without moving your head. And then come back to your breath. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. If you feel a sense of release or relaxation response, like a sigh or a yawn, you can bring your eyes back to center. If you don't quite get there, then you'll just stay for a few more breaths. And then bring your eyes back to center if they're not already. And just blink your eyes a couple times. You may have to reposition your head and neck. And then we'll do the same thing to the left. So you're keeping your head still and moving only your eyes, looking as far to the left as possible. And then once you do that, you'll keep your eyes left. Come back to your breath. And then just allow your body to relax. So maybe scanning through physical sensations of your body to see if there's anywhere you could soften. You know, I tend to grip through my hips a little bit, so it's helpful to relax there. Or maybe you could find a little more ease in your shoulders. One more breath, looking left. Come back to center. Again, blink your eyes. And then you can close your eyes and take your hands out from behind your head. Relax them by your sides. And then if you are laying on your back, just bring your knees in toward your chest. If you're still seated, you might fold forward over your legs. Just in essence, giving yourself a gentle hug. And take a few breaths there. Checking in to see how you're feeling. Okay, and then releasing your feet back down or coming back to seated. And then we're going to move on to laying on our belly. So you'll roll over if you're on the floor. Come down onto the floor if you were seated. And then you're going to be propped up on your forearms. So elbows under shoulders if you can. If this feels like it's too much on your lower back, then you can take your elbows wider. And if that still feels like too much, you might go still a little wider, or other option would be to be all the way down, okay? So we do want to be working to open the chest as much as possible. So again, you can take nice deep breaths. Okay, so if you're on your forearms, you're pressing down into the forearm to lift the crown of your head as tall towards the ceiling as you can. And then you might allow your butt muscles and your legs to relax. And then start to breathe into your belly, expanding side to side, front to back. And as you're breathing out, do your best to avoid sinking down into the shoulders. Okay, so you can stay here, or we're going to add a side bend. So leading with your eyes, look left, side bend left. So that means your left shoulder will go towards your left hip, and you're looking with your eyes to see how far behind you can see. Maybe you can see one foot, maybe you can see both, and then come back to center, and then to the other side. So eyes first, then the shoulders, and then the waist. And center. Now coordinating that with your breath. So you can really breathe in either pattern, but I like to inhale as I side bend, and exhale back to center. Keep thinking about the crown of the head lifting away from the floor. And then last little addition here, if you're comfortable with it, is to add a bend of the opposite knee. So as you side bend left, you're bending your right knee. And center. And as you side bend right, you're bending your left knee. Remember, eyes are leading the way. We'll do one more in each direction. Good. Okay, and then come down, stack one hand over the other, and you can rest either your cheek or your forehead on your hand. And then take a nice deep breath into your belly. And let it out. We'll do one more belly breath here. I like to do the belly breath on the floor like this because you can feel your belly expand against the floor. Okay. And if you're comfortable on your knees in a child's pose position, you can go there. So you can either have your knees apart and your big toes together, or your knees together and your big toes together, hips back, and then chest comes down. Now if your knees and or hips are not happy here, just roll onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. A few breaths. Again, soften and relax the body. Okay, and then we're going to add a side bend here. So taking your hands over to your left, ribs over to your left, and then settling into that child's pose position again. You might encourage your right hip to draw back, your right fingers to crawl forward. And then now as you breathe, send your breath into the right side of your body. From the armpit down to the ribs, down to the waist. And then take your time coming over to the other side. So again, drawing now left hip back, left fingers forward. Using your breath into the left side of your body to create expansion, to increase mobility of the ribs and the muscles that assist in breathing. And then you'll come back to center. And back up again. Okay, so we are going to do one more stretch to continue to open up the rib cage area. Again, the muscles in between the ribs help to breathe or allow for a deeper breath. So you'll come onto your side with your knees bent, so they're going to line up with your hips, and then your bottom arm can go out in front, and if your neck is okay with it, your head can come down. If you feel like you need a little bit of a support, just grab a pillow or a blanket or towel and roll it up. And then we'll start to lift the top hand towards the ceiling. So right up over your shoulder. Again, use your eyes to facilitate this. So you're looking at your hand just above your shoulders. And then start to bring your top shoulder towards the floor, and that will allow your arm to go back. Keep following your hand with your eyes as far as you can. And then eventually maybe your arm reaches the ground. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But if it feels like it's strain on the elbow, you can bend your elbow and just rest your hand on your shoulder. So more importantly is that we're twisting through the rib cage here. And the chest stretch is sort of a bonus there if you do feel comfortable with your hand on the floor. All right, once we have arrived in our twist, you're welcome to close your eyes and begin to breathe into the area that feels like it's stretching the most for you. So perhaps it's the rib cage, or maybe it's your hip or your inner thighs, whatever you're feeling is fine. Just send your breath there. And encourage relaxation to come to you. And then take your time as you start to unwind yourself back. And then we are going to turn over and do the other side. So you make your way onto your second side. Again, knees are bent out in line with your hips. Bottom arm out in front, head comes down. And then you'll lift your top arm up towards the ceiling. Find the hand as your focal point. And then your shoulder is the first to move. So as if you're trying to get that top shoulder to touch the floor behind you. Which for some folks it won't quite get there, and that's okay. So once you twist as far as you can always bend the back elbow and put your hand on your chest if that feels more supportive. Or you can let your hand rest on the floor. Closing your eyes if you wish, and taking a few deep breaths. Scanning through your body, noticing where you feel any restriction or gripping, and sending your breath there. Take your time as you untwist. And then you can use your top hand to press you up to seated. And then as you come to seated again, let's do a quick check-in. So you'll close your eyes, let your arms relax by your sides. First, notice your natural breath. After spending some time in self-care. You might notice your emotional state after this short practice to help reset your nervous system and decrease stress and anxiety. You might check in with your physical state. Notice the muscles around your eyes, your jaw, your neck. See if there's a little bit more softening available. Softening the outer layer. Connect with this calm, peaceful feeling. Know that it is always within you, within reach. When you're ready, gently blinking your eyes open. So any of that can be separated out and used on its own. So the 4-7-8 breath pattern, the self-massage techniques, or any of the stretches to be used to help calm you down, bring you, back into your body if you're feeling moments of stress or anxiety. And additionally, I'll share with you a playlist of all of our meditation practices for anxiety so that you can pull one up whenever you need it. I hope you have a peaceful and calm day. Remember, come back to this practice anytime you need it. Thanks for joining me.